For those of you that are not driving right now, I'm going to invite for you to play along in a little game with me. And I want for you to take a moment and I want you to think back throughout your life. And I want you to think about your favorite coach, your favorite guide, your favorite teacher. Place that person in your mind. And if you're not driving, close your eyes if you can and think back. Remember that favorite coach, favorite teacher, favorite guide. Hear their voice. See their face. Feel the way you felt when they believed in you. Go ahead and open up your eyes if you have your eyes closed. And does everybody here have that memory of that teacher in your mind? If you have that memory of the teacher in your mind, go ahead and put a 3 in the chat and give me a thumbs up if you're on video. Now imagine if that person came into the room right now and they gave you advice, if they guided you, if they were somebody that said, hey, Joe, have you ever considered doing this? Hey, Dana, have you ever considered doing that? Hey, Josie, have you ever considered changing something about whatever it is that you're doing? If that person walked into your room today, would you follow their advice? If the answer to that is a yes, you're in the right room. That is teach to sell. If the answer to that is I would follow their advice, that is the way that your business can transform. Because when you teach, you develop that trust. When you guide, people are going to follow you. And guess what? People buy from people that they trust. So the deeper truth is that you cannot out-earn your own self-belief. Your identity sets the ceiling on your income. And that's exactly why repetition and community matter. And why we'll come back to that later. But right now, it's about believing in yourself. Because when you look at the 4 pillars that I go through in this book, Teach to Sell, those 4 pillars start with how to believe in yourself. And that's the number one fundamental piece of Teach to Sell. And that's a part of your identity. So let's go ahead and dive into secret number 1 if we can, please. Teach to sell. The best teachers, the best guides, the best people who are in the way to be able to do business, to be able to get sales, are the ones that are the guide. I've already mentioned to you about that favorite teacher of yours. And imagine if they came into the room right now, would you follow their advice? What would cause you to follow that advice? If you said yes to that. Shout out if you can. This is going to be a participation. We got a small enough crowd here today. Trust, Carrie says. What else? What would cause you to follow that teacher's advice? Remember that teacher that came into that room and gave you a piece of advice. Type it into the chat. What would cause you? Succeeds of success, says Dana. What would cause you to be able to follow their guide? Because this is important. This is an important transformation that you're about to make right now. She was a gym teacher, says Galen. He cared about his students, says Chris. Relationships, says Jessica. From Hartford, Connecticut. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut. They have acted as a mentor and a trusted guide in the past. Proof of performance, says Ashton. This is evidence. It's all about relationships, says Darren. Hey, Darren, nice to see you here. This is evidence that when you guide, when you teach, when you're the leader, you're going to do more business. When you care about them instead of you. Because guess what most salespeople are taught? Most salespeople are taught to pitch, to go for the close, the Glengarry Glen Ross, the always be closing, right? Like, has anybody here had an aggressive sales teacher in the past that says, hey, man, you just got to bang the phones. You just got to always be asking for the close. You just got to sell. Has anybody here ever heard that before?
Yes.
Well, guess what? Erase it from your memory. Thank you, Steve Vargas. Hey, Steven, I didn't even see you there. I hear you saying yes, and then I see your face. Beautiful face that you have there.
Thanks, brother.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Steve, you're looking good, by the way. So if
Thank
anybody here has ever been in a position that you've had a mentor or a coach or a guy that says, hey, you should be selling, 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 that's not the way to sell. If anybody sit there and says, hey, if you want to make more money, sell more, no. If you want to make more money, solve more problems. And as a sales professional, I want you to consider that you are the guide. Okay, you are the leader. And when you're able to help more people to solve their problems, then you're going to naturally make more money as a byproduct. So you have to understand money is not what we're chasing. Money is a byproduct of you being the guide, of you helping people, of you being able to guide people to be able to achieve their goals. If you have a piece of paper, I'm going to ask for you to take your piece of paper out. I'm going to give you a 3-step model right now on communication that's going to transform your business. I promise you, write this down. These 3 steps are going to allow for you to be able to make a difference. I'm going to give you the tactical steps. And this is called the CPI communication model, which stands for consistent and predictable income communication model. Hello, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. So the CPI communication model stands for there's 3 parts of the CPI communication model. Step number 1, write this down, gain rapport. Now, you've probably heard sales coaches tell you that before, but what you've not heard sales coaches tell you is what is rapport. Hey, Terry Archer, good to see you there. Thanks for joining us. I don't think I said hi to you before. What is rapport? Rapport is a connection. What is a connection of? Rapport is a connection of energy. See, we all have energy here. Okay, we're all these human beings, and we also have this spiritual being within ourselves. And so Dana and Izzy and Chris, when we connect energetically, that is rapport. How do you gain rapport? I'll tell you that in a second. Let me tell you the other 2 steps, and then I'll go backwards. So step number 1 is to gain rapport. Step number 2 is to ask adept questions. Step number 3 is to actively listen. So gain rapport, ask adept questions, actively listen. Oh, by the way, anybody thinking I'm going to pitch you anything today? I'm not. I'm going to ask for you to buy the book. I'm going to ask for you to join the book club. All right, like I'm just going to get that out of the way, right? The book costs $19. The book club costs $39. I'm just going to hit that up first. That way, no one has to think I'm going to sell you a $10,000 coaching program today. That's not what this is about. Okay, this is the book launch. Get the book. We'll talk more about that here in a second. So number 1, be in rapport. Number 2 is ask adept questions. Number 3 is to actively listen. So let's go back to the rapport. Rapport is that connection of energy. How do you connect with the energy? How do you make that connection? You do so by paying attention. Excuse me. And what are you paying attention to? You're paying attention to Galen. You're paying attention to Pierre St-Jean. You're paying attention to King. You're paying attention to Steve Vargas, Michelle, Charlene, Deb. You're paying attention to whoever you're communicating with. And who else are you paying attention to? You're paying attention to yourself. You're paying attention to your internal, how you're feeling. Why are you paying attention to how you're feeling? Because how do you know when you're in rapport? You know when you're in rapport is when you can feel it. You can physically feel the connection. When I say that to you, does that how's that resonate with you? How's that land with you? Who here has felt that connection on the inside? Right? Give me a thumbs up or shout out if you felt that connection. Galen gives us a thumbs out. I saw Steve doing a head nod there. Okay, you feel that connection. You feel that energy. Aaron, thank you for the thumbs up. Go ahead. Who just shout up?
I say the awkwardness, when you feel the obvious awkwardness, there's not a spirit, there's not a connection. Usually it's.
And Steve, right now, I feel connected with you.
because we agree on the same thing. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
So number one, the CPI communication model is to gain rapport. Number two, ask adept questions. What is an adept question? An adept question is designed to be able to uncover the truth. It's a deep diving question. It's a question that's designed to be able to get to the root of what is the pain? What is the problem? What is it that they're deeply experiencing? Let's say that you're a real estate sales professional. Many of you are. And let's say you ask somebody, hey, do you want to buy a home? And they say, yeah, I want to buy a 2-bedroom, or let's say a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Okay, great. You want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. At that point, what most sales agents do is they say, okay, well, what's the features and the benefits? What do you want in that home? That's great. You need to get that. But what you really need to get is you really need to get to the root of what is it that they truly want? Is it security? Is it safety? Is it a feeling of being like, I'm an adult now? And what is it that they're really afraid of? Because if you are a sales professional, you absolutely have had this challenge before where you've had somebody that said they wanted to do something, but then they didn't do it. And why did they not do it? Because they were afraid. Who here has ever had that experience? So if you've ever had that experience, how can you avoid that experience to make more sales? By identifying before you get into the transaction, what is it that they're afraid of? What is it that they're experiencing? And you get to that by asking adept questions. Write this down as well. The number one, I'm going to give you one phrase that will transform your business. I guarantee you this phrase will transform your business. You guys ready for it? Write this down. Tell me more. That's the one phrase that will transform your business. Tell me more about that. What does that mean to you? When you achieve that, what will that help you do? How will you feel when you get whatever it is that you're persuading them to get? Okay? It's about identifying that emotion. What is it that would cause you to not make a decision and move forward? And really, what are you afraid of? When you're willing to ask these questions of your audience, of the person who you are guiding, then you're going to be able to make more sales. And oh, by the way, who here wants to make more sales? I think we all do, right? If you're in sales, I hope the answer to that question is a yes. So step number one, be in rapport. Thanks, Joe. The nonchalant, like, yeah, I'll do it. Number one, be in rapport. Number two, ask adept questions. And number three, be able to then actively listen. Now, when I say actively listen, what are you actively listening to and for? Who wants to throw a guess out there? What does actively listen mean? What does that mean? What do you guys got? Anybody? Shout out. Actively listen. What do I mean by saying actively listen? There you go. Listen to understand, says Dana.
Yeah, look, understanding what their motivation and what their needs are, and finding out a way you can help them.
Listen to the pain points, says Michelle. Darren, thank you for that. Has anybody here ever been with a couple and you said something like this? You said, who here wants to, I won't do that. I was going to say, who wants to be a couple? I was going to do like a little marriage maker right here, right? But then I decided that's probably bad way for me to go with this. But if you've ever been in a situation where you've had two people, husband and wife or partners, whatever the case may be, and you said to them, say, hey, do you want to make the decision to move forward? And one of them said, yes. And the other said, yeah. Has anybody ever been in that situation before besides me? Are they both saying yes? No. Okay. When you're actively listening, you're not just listening to the words, you're listening to the energy. Oh, by the way, what do you do when you're in that situation? I've done this for 20 plus years. You could do it as well. You look at that person that said yes, and you look at them and you say, I'm curious, Joe. What's causing you to say no? In over 20 years, I've never had a person say, dude, I just said yes. At that point, they actually discuss, they go down and then you go back up to step number 2, asking in-depth questions. Okay, so these three things, they sort of they go back and forth, right? So be in rapport, ask in-depth questions, actively listen. And when you're actively listening and you find that the energy is not there, then you find to say, okay, well, let me address that. Okay, because what so many people do, so many sales professionals do, they just go for the close. Hey, they said yes, go. Well, guess what? You just set yourself up for failure. You think that transaction is getting to the close line? Maybe, but maybe not. And you think that second person who wasn't a yes, you think they're going to love you to death and give you lots of referrals? No, they're not. Okay. So I'm giving you the framework. That's the framework that I go through and teach yourself. One of the frameworks, one of the many, many frameworks for you to be able to follow. Go ahead, Steve Vargas, and I'm going to move on. What you got?
Sorry,
I'd like
you
you
know
to
me.
raise your hand, my man.
Yeah. Professional. So I remember I had someone on my team that they were like, every time I showed a property, they would ask them, well, do you see yourselves living in it? And the wife was like, yeah. And the husband was like, yeah. They would go to the house, they would drive, and they'd be like, oh, we're not going to move forward. So he asked me and said, well, you need to isolate and see what her thoughts are. Like you said, isolate. So tell me, what is it about it specifically? So I love that you said that, because sometimes you may have to isolate both of them to figure out who it is. So thank you for allowing me to
Absolutely.
speak.
You're welcome, Stephen. The best companies, the best brands, and the highest performers in any field, they teach far more than they sell. They give before they ask. They build trust on the way in so that the sale is almost a formality on the way out. Teaching is the strategy. Selling is just the result. Money is just the result. Patagonia, HubSpot. I talk about those two companies in this book. Has anybody here ever heard of Patagonia? Has anybody here ever heard of HubSpot? Patagonia. What is Patagonia? What is their mission? Anybody here know? What do they talk about? Patagonia talks about like sort of like the environment. Talks about taking care of the earth. Well, what type of brand is Patagonia? It's a clothing brand. Here's a clothing brand that's taken on a mission to educate people about how we can take care of this thing that we all live on. Okay, what's that got to do with clothes? Not much, except for when it gets really, really cold, you need more Patagonia. I guess in their benefit, they probably want to have the earth get colder, so we buy more of their stuff. Okay, but they take it on a mission. They educate, they guide. Okay, the same way as you could do the same. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you're with a client, when you're with a prospect, instead of like sell, instead what you want to do is you want to guide. You want to tell them about the predictable problems of the transaction. You want to tell them about what may happen. Again, if you're real estate sales, how about this? Has anybody here ever had a deal blow up because of a home inspection if you're a real estate agent? Anybody? Let me give you a little consult. Do this instead. When you're advising the buyers up front, you say to the buyer something like this: Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, this is before you even go out in the car, before you even show a home. I'm gonna want to walk you through what's going to happen during this transaction, and the day that we write an offer that gets accepted, what's going to happen then? And what's going to happen is the two of you are going to go home. You're going to be excited when we write the offer that gets accepted, and then you're going to go home, and then you're going to be anxious. You're probably going to have buyer's remorse. You're probably going to toss and turn when you go to sleep. You're probably going to be like, did we just make a mistake? That night, it may be restless. The next morning, you're going to wake up and your sister's going to send you a text and she's going to say, you're a freaking idiot for buying right now. What are you thinking? Okay. And then 3 days later, you're going to have a home inspection. And that home inspector is going to come and they're going to say, hey, there's 100 things wrong with this property. And guess what? Your emotional state, you're in that buyer's remorse. You're already in that position of, oh my goodness, what the heck? And the home inspector says there's 100 things wrong with this property. Well, smart buyers like you who take the time to actually consider what's going to happen up front know that any single property is going to have problems with it. Or maybe not even problems, but just things that are just not ideal. Because you're paying $500 for the home inspector, you'd be pretty upset with them. They say it's a perfect home, and then you find out a wall socket's not working, wouldn't you? So what you have to understand is when we do the home inspection is that what causes, not you guys, but other buyers in the past that I've worked with, what causes them to actually have challenges with the transaction is that they get emotional. They let all of that stuff be able to integrate into their world. And certainly we don't want that to happen. You have that conversation up front. That is teach to sell, by the way, because now you took a predictable problem. And this, I discovered this when I used to own a real estate brokerage with about 150 agents who I led. And I would get the same problems over and over and over again. Okay. And instead of sitting there saying, well, why am I telling everyone how to solve this problem? How about I tell them how to prevent the problem? Okay. That's where Teach to Sell was born. That example I just gave you with the home inspection, that's where this book came from, by the way. Okay. This book came from me being a broker. I pull my hair out. Anybody get the jokes? No jokes? No jokes. Joe got that joke. All right. Here I was as a broker, right? Leading people, and it's the same problem over and over and over again. And I'm like, damn, what if we did this differently? What if we were proactive rather than reactive? That's an example of Teach to Sell. We want to make sure that we're leading with questions, not pressure. This is secret number 2. Is the conversation. This is where the conversation is won or lost. It's with questions. We went through the 3 steps of the CPI communication model. Number 1, be in rapport. Number 2, ask in-depth questions. Number 3, actively listen. When you're in a conversation, I used to lead this agent, and this guy reminded me of like a I don't know, like Glenn Ross, right? This guy would talk and 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 talk, and he never made any sales, and he wondered why. I'm like, dude, shut up. How about you ask a question instead of talking? Okay, if you want to know how to control a conversation, ask a question. Hello, Justin Stoddard. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to dominate a conversation, talk. Okay. So secret number 2 to sales is the best salespeople ask more questions. You guys got that? When I just said you guys got that, some of you physically nodded your heads. Okay. That's me guiding you right now to align with me. You guys follow me on how that happens? I could do this all day long. All right. So you ask questions. You ask better questions. You ask deep diving questions. You get to the root of what's really causing them to not take action or to take action. And so when you guide instead of pushing, when you lead with clarity, when you focus on their internal problems, not just the surface ones, we get that through the deep diving questions. When you ask questions that guide instead of push, then you're going to be able to make more sales. I use a pre-decision compass and an 80-20 structure, letting them talk 80% of the time while you are listening, and you're guiding 20% of the time. You're not pitching, you're leading. What is the pre-decision compass? The pre-decision compass is before you have a problem, before you have something that you got to make a big decision on, make that decision now, not then. I discovered this when I had a brokerage of 150 agents that worked for me. And I would have agents come to me and ask me, say, hey, Dan, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Whatever the case may be. And I wanted to help my agents. Okay. But once in a while, what would happen is I would have one agent ask me for one thing, another agent ask me for another thing, and they would maybe conflict. Or maybe we only have a certain amount of money to invest into whatever. We got $10 and they're asking for 9 of it, and they're asking for another 9 of it. Well, the math doesn't add up. So I had to make a decision before I got to that situation. And the decision that I made in this case, this was the first pre-decision that I made, was the next time I'm faced with a decision where I've got conflicting values, conflicting, and I can only say yes to one, I'm going to make the decision that I'm going to decide what's best for all rather than what's best for the individual. Okay? What's best for the team rather than what's best for the person asking me the question. So I made a decision that when somebody comes and asks me a question for a resource, hey, Dan, can you get us this? Then my first inclination would say, if they want this, would it benefit everybody or would it just benefit that person? Because if the answer was it would not benefit everybody, then the answer is going to be, I would love to be able to get that for you, Steve. I love you to death. And we're not going to be able to do that. And then maybe we come up with a plan on how we could do it in the future. That's an example of a pre-decision compass. The last decision that you made in your business that caused you anguish, that caused you stress, the last time that you had stress, write that down, okay? I'm going to walk you through the pre-decision guide in this book and write down what caused you the stress, right? And make a decision now about how you're going to deal with that in the future. That is a pre-decision. And why do I suggest that? Because those decisions, they bite at you. They take away from you. They kill you. And instead, make the decision now when you're in a neutral territory. You guys all good with that? Okay? And then the 80-20 that we talked about, that goes back into asking questions. That goes back to the CPI communication model. Be in rapport, ask in-depth questions, actively listen. Well, you want to spend 80% of the time with your mouth shut. And then 20% of the time, the majority of that you're asking questions. And then a small amount of that 20% you're guiding. You're telling them about what's going to happen. You're setting up the expectations of the things that may go wrong so that if they do go wrong, then guess what? You're the hero. If you're a real estate agent and you've ever had a transaction where the lender came at the last minute and something fell apart with the financing, has anybody ever had that experience? All right, so if you've ever had that experience, Galen just puts her hand like right in the thing. That was like a big, like right like that, right? So if you've ever had that experience, okay, then what would happen if you, instead of reacting to it, set them up at the forefront of it to say, hey, this may happen. The lender may come if you're a buyer and ask you for all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of documents that you already gave them. And instead of them getting stressed about that, they're like, man, Galen is a freaking expert, because I know Galen is. She's an expert. She told us that this may happen before it even happened. Okay? That is teach to sell. So the last of the 3 secrets is commit or quit. And I told you that there's 3 choices that you have. And guess where I learned commit or quit, by the way? I learned commit or quit in rehab. See, I'm a recovering addict, 21 years sober. And hello, Frazier. Thank you for joining us. So 21 years sober. And when I was in rehab 21 years ago, I was taught that the alcoholics who would say, I'm going to quit, like I did, I'm going to commit to sobriety. That's what the alcoholics are going to commit to sobriety, were the happiest. The alcoholics that said, screw it, I'm all in, were the second happiest. The alcoholics that said, you know what, I'm going to drink 4 beers on a Friday and 2 beers on a Saturday and nothing on a weeknight, they were the least happiest because they battled with the addiction. Okay, it was better to just say, I'm all in. I'm going to drink a 12-pack of beer and 2 bottles of wine a day. Because even though I'll die young, at least I won't be having that struggle of that internal battle. That's the meager results. So you have 3 decisions in your life that you can make. You can commit to your success, commit to getting teach to sell. You can quit on your success, or you can get meager results. That's up to you. My advice to you is whatever's going to serve you, whatever's going to serve your family, whatever's going to serve your well-being, be all in on it. Commit to it. Commit to be all in. And when you commit, that is the multiplier, because commitment provides clarity. Clarity provides confidence. Confidence produces action, and action creates CPI, consistent and predictable income. When discipline becomes habit, habit becomes success. And it all starts with one internal decision. I want to introduce you to some of my friends who have already read the book or are reading the book right now. One of them's on this thing right here. Go ahead, Leslie, and play us a video if you could, please, and thank you.
Teach to sell. If you're having a hard time selling as much as you want, or maybe your team or your organization isn't, today is going to actually be revolutionary for you. You're going to realize that maybe you're going about it all wrong.
You know, Dan's book's fantastic. I've only gotten partway through it.
When he was asking me, like, have you heard, what books are you reading? I said, oh, I'm reading Teach to Sell.
I'm not even all the way through it yet. And I'm like,
there's a chock full of nuggets in that thing. Right at the first, I'm not quite halfway through. And there's a ton of stuff that you guys can learn from this stuff.
There are so many nuggets in here, and excited to get this into the hands of people.
Get his book, people, and share it with 10 people. Let's all thrive together.
Teach to Sell. I love it.
Here we go, baby. We are launching. Go to teachtosellbook.com. This book will change your life.
Thank you to my friends for the early readers of the book, Teach to Sell. And this is not just about, actors, right? There's real salespeople practicing this method together right now with one mission: to sell without selling. And 1 million people, we're on our way to reading, and we're on our way to reaching. And this is what it looks like at scale. These are some of the early adopters of Teach to Sell, some of the early readers of Teach to Sell, and there's more to come. So here's the one thing about today. You've had some breakthroughs through this hours. I went through the 3 secrets, but the breakthroughs are going to fade without support, and information alone is not enough. So let me guide you through exactly how to keep this going. Number 1 is get the book. It all starts with the book. The book right here, this is the complete blueprint for you to influence and the method for you to create no broke months. The same way I have created no broke months since 2008. Think about that. In real estate sales, I haven't had a single broke month for almost 20 years. Many of those months, 10 plus sales. Okay, this is the method to create no broke months. You're going to get real scripts in the book. You're going to get real stories, real guidance. And the whole system is going to be in your hands. We just barely scratched the surface today. This is going to be the complete blueprint for your success. It's the method for you to create no broke months. And it's going to give you, again, the real scripts, real stories, and real guidance. And it's more than just a book. Inside, you're going to get the pre-decision compass. So that pre-decision compass, I already told you how I got the pre-decision compass, was when I had those agents coming to me and they're going to say, hey, make this decision, make that decision. You're going to get the commit or quit framework. It's going to walk you through, it's going to walk you through exactly exercises that you can do today to be able to commit or quit. It uses neurolinguistic programming to influence, hypnotic sales techniques to ethically influence. And you're going to get the full no broke months blueprint, real examples and examples that are going to allow for you to take steps right now. Nothing is held back. I go through my story in this book. I share everything, good, bad, indifferent, whatever the case may be. And I got a whole bunch of bad stuff, a whole bunch of things that have happened in my career that I'm going to be transparent with you so you can avoid those challenges. But the book, it's just a map. I told you earlier today in this presentation, I'm going to invite you to come to the book club. The book club, I'm going to take 4 weeks and I'm going to guide you starting next Tuesday, because this book's going to give you clarity. The book club's going to give you implementation, because success doesn't come from reading once. It comes from repetition and feedback. And that's what I want for you. And so when you join the book club, what do you get? The offer that I'm making for you today is for $39 for 4 weeks of guided instruction, live group coaching, Q&A. We're going to do trial by error. We're going to do like a hot seat, the hot seat. We're going to put you in place that you're going to be practicing these models that you're going to learn in this book. Proven frameworks, proven tools, plus bonus training, and a community that's actually going to lift you up instead of just leaving you alone. That's what the Teach Yourself Book Club is. So we're going to add this all up. You're going to get the lessons. You're going to get the live coaching. You can get the frameworks. You can get the bonuses. You can get the community. And that's going to be well over $10,000 for just, as I said to you before, $39. That's the investment for the book club. And when you get that today, you're going to also be able to get my guidance personally during those 4 weeks so that you're going to be able to implement Teach to Sell. So again, what is Teach to Sell? It is the guide to be able to allow for you to ethically influence. It's the guide to be able to get you to be able to get from where you are to where you want to be. One of the many models that I go through in this book is what's called the bridge. Okay. And what the bridge is remember we talked about the pain. Remember we talked about what your people experienced. Remember we talked about that, you're asking those questions about, hey, tell me more about that. What does that mean to you? When you get that, what does that allow for you to achieve? That is the pain. Okay. And when you understand that when you're selling, that you want to bring them to the desire of what it is that they want. So we're going to take you from here it is, what you're experiencing, and you're going to agitate that. You're going to step on that pain. You're going to pour vinegar. You're going to pour salt into the wounds. And you're going to really make sure that they feel that pain. And then that they see the desire. They see where they can go. Okay, so when you, as a sales professional, when you're able to take them from where their pain is, using the CPI communication model, to where their desire is, then you're going to be in a position to be able to say, guess what? Here's the bridge from your pain to your desire. It's my services. It's my products. It's my whatever it is that you're offering in your business. That right here is going to allow for you to go from here to here. So guess what? For you, right now, if you've had inconsistent months, if you've been in a position where you have struggled, where you've had peaks and valleys, where you've sat there and you woke up, you're like, man, what in the hell am I doing? Why don't I just go drive an Uber? Right? Like, seriously, like I'm busting my butt and that deal just fell apart. Like, seriously, like I don't want that to happen anymore. If that has ever been you, guess what? The book is your bridge to be able to get consistent and predictable income, to be able to obtain no broke months. So I want you to understand that when I'm telling you right now, that pain that you have as a sales professional, guess what? I've been in sales since I've been 8 years old. All right. My first business got shut down. It was a bubblegum machine business where I would go and buy 10 things of bubblegum and I'd sell it at the elementary school. Apparently my principal was anti-capitalism, right? He shut me down in a second. All right. So I've been selling. I'm a 53-year-old man. Okay. I've been doing this for a long time and I've documented, I've put it into place, and I'm going to show you how to do the same when you get Teach to Sell. So Leslie, if you could put up the code there for them to be able to get it, there is going to be no risk for you. Actually go back, slide 24. Thank you. No risk for you, okay? Because transformation doesn't happen alone. It happens in the community. I want you guys to get this. I am freaking serious about helping you. I'm asking you for $39. Ellie, come here, bitch. Come here. I'm asking you for $39 for 4 weeks of 1 hour training sessions live, okay? You genuinely have nothing to lose. And if after those 4 weeks, if you don't have a transformation in your life, I'll give you your $39 back. So get the book, join the club, and scan in that QR code right now. We're going to start 1 week from Tuesday is when the book club is starting. And when that starts, you're going to be able to be joining a mission to be able to help 1 million people to sell without selling by teaching them how to think. And understand this is bigger than a sale. This is an invitation. I want you to come and join the community, to stop selling the hard way, to create no broke months, to be one of the 1 million. And I want you to do that today. I want to make this simple for you. Teach to sell is the method. The CPI is the community. No broke months is the promise. 3 names, 1 path. I'm going to guide you on how to do this. If anybody here has ever been in a position where you're like, man, I want to be able to have success. I want to be able to understand. I want to be able to understand exactly how to be able to have success. Scan in the code or go to www.teachtosellbook.com. It starts on Tuesday next week, and that's going to be noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time for you Las Vegas folks, Galen. Thank you, everybody, for joining my presentation today. Thank you, everybody, for being day number 1. It starts right now. The book just got released by Simon & Schuster, and I'm going to recommend that you get the book, join the book community, join me. Let me help you. Let me show you the way. Let's do this together. Let's have no broke months. Let's freaking rock and roll, and let me help you have no broke months, and let me help you to inspire a community of sales professionals so that they see that there's a path. They see that there's a way. They go through the 4 pillars of this book. And Ashton, Leslie's going to help you out there, Ashton, in just a second. The 4 pillars of this book are to be able to believe in yourself, to be able to know how to lead generate, to be able to know how to be to build an organization and know how to lead. Steve, what you got, my man?
So I will tell you, I read the book too, and what I love about it the most is you use real life concepts that we can all relate to. Some things that were really deep and vulnerable. So that has always changed my mindset just reading that. So thank you for that.
Do you remember any examples of something that was vulnerable?
Someone that we both knew that owned a big region. Enough said, right? Yes. Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes.
Read the book. All right. Who else has read the book here? Who else has read the book? Darian has? Chris has? Justin has? Justin, what are your thoughts about the book?
Well, you and I went deep on it on my podcast, and I'll tell you that, the part that was really intriguing to me is that in a time and age when everyone's so focused on more leads, right? More. And I think when you come into a client's life through that portal, you're somewhat de-edified because there's 4 guys chasing right behind you. And the way that you position this is that you don't have to race to kind of be one of many anymore. That when you position yourself to be a leader and a mentor and a teacher and actually an instructor of what they need now and what they're going to need next, you come in edified, and you come in as somebody who there is no competition to that, because everyone else is coming in just trying to fling a service. You're coming in as an instructor offering value. And I think it just changes the way that professionals can go to market. Again, instead of how fast can I sprint to a client and how low will I go on my price, it's how much value can I offer by simply moving into that frame of being a teacher, and everything changes, right? People are racing to you versus you trying to race to them. So I loved it. I think it's everything that good professionals who want to have an actual margin moving in the future need to read and study and actually get coaching and mentorship around. And I love that because so many people sell a book, right? And it's like, most people won't apply that. We're humans, but being in an ecosystem of people who are also learning it together, I think is the path, and your book is the path to have them actually build a business that's remarkable. So super happy with your work on it. Thank you for all you contributed and all you sacrificed to make it happen for us.
It's my pleasure. And if you've ordered the book previously, you've been waiting. It just got published today, so thank you for your patience. Some people have ordered this book as long as a year ago. Frazier, then Darian. Frazier, I saw your hand up. You're on mute.
Yeah. So this might just be echoing what Justin just said, but I think that we all sort of get into the business that we're in because we want to help people. And then we try to figure out, the money piece. And it's funny, right? If you are really, really, really committed to helping people and you're really, really committed to making sales, you have 2 separate sides. Sometimes the actions can look the same. And like Dan is sitting here saying, like, I really want you to buy this book. I really want you to get in this community. I really want you to do that stuff. That can be just normal salesmanship, but it can also be passionate, evangelical, missionary behavior of wanting to really change lives. And what I like most about the book, and really the sort of evolution behind it, is taking the good intentions, taking the desire to help your clients and to make a mission and to help as many people as possible, and figuring out how to link that with real business processes and to make it work, to turn it into consistent, predictable income. Because I think we all believe that if we were able to do the money side, we just want to help more people. And I think that the key thing in the book is you don't have to make those sequential, right? You can focus on helping people as long as you also tweak just these couple levers to make sure it also turns into income in your book or into your business.
Thank you. And I am freaking passionate about this, right? Like I am, because I've done sales since I've been 8 years old, and I've seen good salespeople and I've seen crappy salespeople. And the reality of it is salespeople are untrained. Salespeople are not shown how to do this. Okay. Like salespeople are not shown. That's why I've taken the last 5 years of my life writing this book, shopping for a publisher, getting it published, and getting it out there to the community. Darren, last thoughts. What you got, my man?
Sorry, I was running around changing positions just then, but yeah. So, no, kind of a similar thought, but just the idea of approaching basically every situation with not just about how do I create business, but how do I create value in the situation. I think that was a great lesson in the book. It's about teaching, not about persuading. We're often taught in sales, like you said, just to be closing, to get everyone on board, get them to the closing table. But they need to understand why they want to be there, and we need to understand whether or not that's where they should be. So sometimes
Yeah.
the best way that we can help a client is actually talking them out of a sale, and then you still strengthen that relationship, and in the end, it's going to pay off in dividends. But I just found how you can apply the concept. I know a lot of us are probably based in property or based in real estate, but even outside of that directly, whether you're doing recruiting, whether you're doing matchmaking like Joe does, whatever it may be, you can apply that concept. How am I helping them? What value am I giving to the situation? And you can break it down even down to a micro level where every conversation that you're in, it's like, oh, well, how can I provide value to the person I'm having this conversation with? How can I help them? And if you're looking at it from that angle, you're just going to establish stronger relationships, better long-term relationships that in the end are really going to show how your career can explode.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you for everybody for joining us today. If you have any problems with the purchase, Leslie's going to stay on here to help you with that. So hang tight. If anybody's having any challenges, we'll make sure we walk you through that. And until the next time, well, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for getting the book. Thank you for joining the book club for those of you that are. And thank you for letting me to be able to be a help for you, because this is really important stuff, guys. It really, truly is. I want to say that from the bottom of my heart. All right. So until next time, have the best of your life. Be grateful, make good choices, go help somebody. God bless you. Get the book, join the book club, and let's do this together. See you guys.